Hi, everybody. It's great to see you again. Are you getting used to this new way of worshiping? I am too, but I sure miss seeing you in person. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that sooner rather than later. Today, I have a little game I want to play with you. Do you remember a few weeks ago we played a game where I showed you pictures of famous people as they looked when they were babies, and you had to try to tell me who they were? Well, you were so good at that, I'm going to try something today as well. So I'm going to show you a picture. Anybody know who this is? No? No guesses? Oh, yeah, I forgot. I have this person's face covered up. You don't know who it is, eh? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off one piece of paper at a time. And when I've taken off enough that you recognize who it is, I want you to shout out. So let's see. Let's start with that. Oh, we've got a pretty eye. Yeah, no guesses? Okay. How about this one? Ooh, yeah. Some nice red lipstick. Oh, it's getting closer. Easier to tell. Who said Taylor Swift? You are right. Very good. This is Taylor Swift. She's recognizable all across the world as a great singer. Now, it's easy to recognize her like that because that's the way we're used to seeing her, right? But let's say you were out at the grocery store with mom and dad and Taylor Swift came in, but she didn't have any makeup on and she had her hair pulled back in a ponytail and she was wearing a ball cap and a sweatshirt and jeans. Do you think we'd recognize her then? Well, some of you might. Some of us certainly would not. And what if we were going through something really traumatic or difficult in our lives? What if something had happened to a member of our family or one of our friends and we were trying to figure out how to make it all right and what it meant? Do you suppose it's possible that Taylor Swift could walk right by us and we wouldn't even notice her? I think it's possible. In today's story, we hear something kind of similar happening to Jesus. A couple of his followers were walking down the road on the way to a place called Emmaus. Now, you have to remember, the disciples and all of Jesus' followers were kind of confused at this point. Remember, we've just come through the Easter story, so we had Jesus dying on the cross to forgive our sins on Good Friday. And then on Easter Sunday, when Mary went to the tomb and the stone was rolled away, the angels came and said, Jesus has risen. And that's all about teaching us about life, living life forever with Jesus. But Jesus wasn't around, and these followers hadn't seen him, and they hadn't seen the angels, and they were confused, and they were talking and trying to figure out what the whole Easter story had really meant for them. And so this stranger joins them, and he starts talking to them and teaching them. And he talks to them about things that happened way back in Moses' time, when there was talk that someday there would be a Messiah. And this man kept talking, and the disciples kept thinking, and this guy was making a lot of sense. He was trying to explain Jesus' life and the importance of it. And when they got to Emmaus, they invited this stranger to have dinner with them. And during dinner, this stranger took bread and he broke it and he gave a piece to each of these men. And then the light bulb came on for them. They realized this was Jesus. Jesus who had been walking with them all day, and they didn't even recognize him. And as soon as they did recognize him and acknowledge that it was Jesus, Jesus ascended into heaven to live with God. Now, what do we take from this story? Because there's a lot of different elements at work here. I think one of the things Jesus wants us to remember is that he died for our sins, but that he rose again. He conquered death, and he is preparing a place for us to be with him forever. And I think the other message, after he had talked to his two followers, I think what he wanted them to understand is they now understood the Easter story. but they had to go and tell other people. And so, in fact, as our story comes to an end today, they did go from Emmaus all the way back to Jerusalem to share their story of their experience on the road with Jesus. And that's what we're called to do. Jesus wants us to spread the good news of his gospel and of all the Easter story learning that we did. So can you do that in the week ahead? If you're having a conversation with your friends or mom and dad, it's a great time to have a conversation about how cool it is that Jesus rose from the dead for us. So remember, you never know who you might run into. You keep an eye out for Taylor Swift. I'll see you in another week. Bye, everybody.